My name is Elizabeth Wathuti. I am a youth climate activist from Kenya. I have done a lot of soul searching about what to say here today. I have asked myself over and over what words might move you. And then I realized that making my 4 minutes count does not rest solely on me. My truth will only land if you have the grace to fully listen.
My name is Elizabeth Wathuti. I am an environmentalist and a climate activist. I am also the founder of Green Generation Initiative, where we work with young children, especially in schools, to help them love the environment and also to teach them about climate solutions, because climate change is a problem, but it also has solutions that young people and everyone else can be able to lead. And that's what we teach the children to be able to do even within their own school compounds. And I also work with the Wangari Maathai Foundation, and I'm currently leading the Wangari Maathai Youth Hub that is focused on helping instill in Wangari Maathai's character traits into young people. And one of these traits is courageous leadership, because for us young people to be able to keep using our voices in this space, we need to have courage. We need to be able to step up and stand up for the right things, even when we're standing alone. And so being able to have this space where we can nurture young people, mentor young people to be able to understand that they can make change happen has been really important in this space. And apart from that, I've also been advocating for climate change issues on a global platform. And just recently, I was at COP27, where I was also championing climate issues and also really asking people to remember that the climate crisis is affecting so many people right now. And we can see it even in our own country, where we have different counties that are facing the ongoing drought situation. And we know that even when the rains come, some of these communities and some of these counties are going to be affected by the prolonged droughts. And this tells us that the weather events are actually becoming very extreme and unpredictable, and this has been greatly contributed by climate change. And so being a voice of change and being a young person who can also use my voice to champion for these issues on a global platform and to also remind people that we can be a part of the solution has been really important for me. And this has been a journey that I started way back, even since I was in primary school and high school, because I was leading the environmental clubs in primary school and high school. So I have been in this space for a long time. Personally, I have grown up in the most forested county in Kenya, that's Nyeri County. And it's also the birthplace to the late Professor Wangari Maathai, who is my greatest source of inspiration. And having grown up in Nyeri County has helped me understand and learn from nature, because being able to spend time with the trees and also to spend time close to clean streams was really an important part of my life, because I was able to understand that these trees give us life, that these trees give us the water, the food and the oxygen that we breathe, and also that when we clean our rivers, our waterways, then we will be able to have that livable world and a safe future for all generations. And so for me, this shaped my journey as an environmentalist. And when I went to primary school and high school, I was able to continue in the same journey, growing trees. In fact, I planted my first tree when I was the age of 7, when the late Professor Wangari Maathai was the Member of Parliament in Nyeri County, Tetu constituency. And this was really important because these are some of the memories that I still hold dearly to my heart up until now. And I wanted to also study a course in environmental studies, so I studied really hard in high school, and I managed to go to Kenyatta University to study a bachelor's degree in environmental studies and community development. That has also taught me how we can be able to incorporate the planet conservation and also make sure that people are being protected at the same time. So it's making sure that we put people and our planet above profits, which has been a really key message for me in this fight against climate change. And I must say, being able to keep championing for this has also helped me to keep growing in the same way. And also I've been able to mentor and work with many other young children, especially through the Green Generation Initiative that I founded in 2016 when I was still in the university. And the first time I addressed world leaders and spoke in a bigger platform was actually last year at COP26, when I addressed the World Leaders Summit at the opening ceremony of COP26. And I was able to champion this message and bring this message to the international platform to remind people that the trees that we are planting here are not going to survive on a warmer planet, that every person and every country has to also contribute to make sure that we address the issue of climate change. So that is why our work here is very important, and our voices also in the international platform are also very important. So I try as much as possible to balance the two of them because they are equally important in the fight against climate change.
We have seen the struggles of even putting nature at the front line when it comes to addressing the climate crisis, because the climate and the ecological crisis have for so long been treated as two separate crises, and yet they are one.
So one thing that my mother and my aunties and my uncles always tell me is that I was a really quiet kid. I'm the child who would literally be like carried by anyone, and I didn't cry. So that was a really good thing about me. It means I was calm and I was loving to everyone. I still am loving to everyone. And I went to school in Consolata Primary School, but actually before I went to Consolata, I went to Kiando Primary School that is just close to my home, and that's in Tatu constituency. And then I went to Consolata Primary School for my boarding school at around class 6. And then I went to public secondary school, that's Kangobiri Girls High School, where I was also leading the Weather and Environment Club. Oh wow, I think my high school experience was really great. I actually went to a school that was called Bami because, you know, we had bananas and sugarcane as, you know, just around the school compound. That's the main basis as to what was making the school be named as Bami. And also it was really green. That's one thing that I also loved about the school. And of course, being a school that's located in Tetu constituency, the same constituency that the late Professor Wangari Maathai was a member of parliament, and also the same constituency that in the most forested county in Kenya, that's Nyeri County, then definitely the school was green. And part of the things that I used to do in high school, and especially supported by my geography teacher, Mrs. Kamau, she used to help us really grow trees in the school farm. We had like a down farm in the school where we were located, and we used to grow trees. In fact, today when I go back to my high school, I can show people the tree that I planted, which is always a thing that I'm super proud of right now every time I go back to the school. And also we used to take rainfall measurements. We had a school weather station. So this formed part of the activities that we used to do at the Weather and Environment Club that also really shaped the work that I do, because when I came to high school and actually discovered that the rainfall measurements we were taking at my high school were actually being used at Dagoretti Corner for weather forecasting in my country. That's really a huge thing to just understand that you contributed to part of that, and it shaped my journey at the same time as well.
The climate crisis for me is also a nature crisis. And if we can channel our energy and resources to solutions that put people and our planet above profits, we will have halfway solved the climate crisis.
So my family is actually an environmental family, and it all starts with my grandmother who had 14 children, and that's my mom included. And we used to really plant so many trees at my grandmother's farm. In fact, for her, she valued trees because she knew that because of the trees, she was able to increase her farm produce. So trees for her were a very important thing, and she never used to cut trees down. In fact, she used to encourage us to keep planting more and more trees. And so right now, people in my family do know that this is something that is in the family. Like, people have to plant trees in their farms, people have to plant trees in their homes, people have to also like green the place and beautify the place even with flowers. So environment for us is a really important thing. And also my mother is really supportive of me. I'm brought up by a single mom, and she has been the greatest pillar in my life, supporting me all along the way in my projects. Whenever I start up tree nurseries, she has always been there to make sure that I have achieved my dreams, to make sure that I have my speeches ready when I'm speaking, to make sure that I have everything that I need even when I'm traveling. And also when I was taking my course in the university, she was one person that really encouraged me to go for what I'm passionate about, and that was environmental studies and community development. And I'm always really grateful to her until now. And I'm an only child, but also in a family where there are so many children, so many cousins, because a family of 14 people from my grandmother, it means that we're a huge family, but we all really love the environment, and that's one of the things that also keeps us together.
My name is Elizabeth Wanjiro Wathuti, an environment and climate activist from Kenya and the founder of Green Generation Initiative. Growing up in Nyeri County, a region that is famous for its beautiful forests in Kenya, and in a village where planting trees and drinking from clean streams was a norm, made me love nature and connect to nature at a young age.
We're going on a short commercial break, but stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll be talking about some of my successes And remember, it's Millennial on the move. That was a short break. Welcome back. We are still on Millennial on the move. I have lots of highlights that I can share with you, but these three, I consider them as my favorite so far. One of them is that in 2019 on International Youth Day, I was recognized by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for my work in environmental conservation. And I think this was a really, really great highlight for me and a special highlight for me. And also last year at COP26 in Glasgow, I addressed the World Leader Summit, and this was the opening ceremony of the biggest climate conference, that's COP26 last year. And what was really special about this address is because I shared the platform with really key people, presidents, including former President Uhuru Kenyatta, also President Joe Biden, the President of the United States of America, and the former Prime Minister of the UK, that's Boris Johnson, and also the United Nations Secretary General, that's Antonio Guterres, and also the Prime Minister of Barbados, that's Mia Motley. And this was a really great highlight for me. And apart from sharing a platform with them, I was addressing over 110 world leaders at that platform. And my speech, which was called Please Open Your Hearts, really continues to be shared across the globe until today because it touched on so many people. And it was about being able to humanize climate change, talking about climate change as a human issue, talking about climate change as an issue of empathy, as an issue of being able to understand how our actions destroy the environment and how our actions cause suffering to other people. And that is the angle I take every day when I'm talking about climate change, even on international platforms.
I believe in our ability to do what is right if we let ourselves feel it in our hearts.
And the other highlight this year, I was named by Time 100 as one of the Time 100 most influential people in the world. That's most influential 100 people in the world. And this was really, really huge. And being able to be on this list of the world's rising stars was really special to me this year. And those are my three main highlights so far. So throughout my work, I've also received several awards and recognitions. My very first award I received when I was still in campus. In fact, I was in second year when I received the Wangari Maathai Scholarship Award from the Greenbelt Movement, the Rockefeller Foundation, and the Kenya Community Development Foundation. And I was the fourth recipient because there were other consecutive awards that had been given in the previous years. And apart from that, I've also been awarded as the Africa Green Person of the Year award by the 1111 Foundation. I've also received an award from the Commonwealth Foundation as the Commonwealth, Africa and Europe finalist for the Commonwealth Youth Awards. I've also been a finalist for the United Nations Environment Programme Champions of the Earth, that's the UNEP Young Champions of the Earth. And I have also received the Diana International Award as well. And I've also received an award from the Green Climate Fund as the Green Climate Champion, the Young Green Climate Champion, among many other awards, but these are the main awards that I'll share with you today. So anytime people ask me why I see myself in many years to come, I always tell them that I see myself one day, one time, as a UN Secretary General. So I am the next UN Secretary General, and that's what I'm working on. And also right now I'll keep championing for environmental issues. I'm currently growing my organization and working with so many other young people to protect the environment and also trying to mentor many other young people because my journey started when I was still young, and being able to also hold the hands of many other children and many other young people to be able to walk in the same path, to be able to feel like they're mentored, to be able to just be supported, to grow in their passion is really important for me. And so this is part of the things that I'll be working on. I've also just recently been appointed into the Nairobi Rivers Commission by the President of the Republic of Kenya, President William Ruto, to represent civil society. And this means all the groups, the institutions, institutions, the non-governmental organizations, the youths, all of these people being able to be that voice in that space that really supports the restoration of our rivers in Nairobi. And this is going to be a commission that runs for the next 3 years. So this is also going to be part of my work moving forward, especially starting next year, and so many other things. But most importantly, I'll keep following my passion. Like I've mentioned, this is the path that I feel that I'm living my purpose. I feel like being in conservation, being able to fight for nature's protection, being able to even fight for the people that are being affected by environmental degradation and climate change issues is actually something that makes me feel that I'm living a fulfilled life, because I am following my passion and I feel like it's actually a calling that I'm following, to be able to fight for these things, and to be able to fight for people and our planet. And this is a path that I'll keep following for the rest of my life. One of the things, being in my space can be very overwhelming, because being in the space that I am, it means that I have to engage in so many activities. I have to speak in many forums. I have to work with many people, especially in communities. I have to run my projects. I have to run my organization. I have to really do so much work at home on the ground and also on international platforms. All of these things combined together can be very overwhelming. It takes so much of the mental space, but the way I have been able to really work on my mental space, but to really be able to keep my energy going, is being able to spend so much time outside. I learned to take a lot of breaks, because if I don't take breaks, it means that I won't have the energy to carry on. So especially if I have come from, for example, the COP27, I take a long break, that's just a mental space for me to reflect on what has happened, to reflect on what worked, what did not work, and just to get my mind together before I embark on something different. So for me, it's all about taking breaks in between, and also understanding that I cannot do everything. So I've also learned how to be able to share opportunities with other people, because many times so many people come to me, maybe they want to make interviews, they want me to speak in platforms, but the fact that I've been able to build a community of young people around me, it means that I'm also able to share these opportunities for other people to take them up. So it means that you don't have to do everything, because that also is really, it also affects how you're able to use your energy to focus on specific things. And the other thing I do is also being able to focus on a specific issue. For example, right now in the climate space, I'm focusing on the link between food, water, nature, climate, and also food, water, nature, and climate. And this is messaging that is often missing in my space. So being able to focus on that one issue and reflecting on it when I'm speaking, and also reflecting on it through the projects that I'm running on the ground is really important, but also understanding that you cannot be able to do everything in the climate space. The world is really huge. The problems are so many. Climate change is a huge global problem, and we cannot be able to do everything, but each one of us can pick a challenge. Each one of us can pick something that they can do and embark on doing that. So being able to identify a challenge in your community and finding solutions for that and embarking on it is really important, because the problem is when you feel like you have to do everything, that's where the mental breakdown begins, because you feel like you have a big problem around you, but you can only do too little. But that in itself is also enough, provided what you're doing, like the late Professor Ngare Madai said, you are being a hummingbird, you're doing the best that you can. That is all that matters and should be able to help you to keep going. And for me, that's what is really important. I also have hobbies, by the way. I do swimming. I go to places that I've never been before. I take a lot of walks in the forest, sometimes even on my own, to reflect and meditate, which is really important. And I also take some time out with friends just to enjoy life at some point, because you really need to live life. So when that happens, it means that when you come back, you're more energized, you're happy, you're able to use that energy now to fight for change, to fight for protection of nature, to fight for the people. And that's what keeps me going every day.
I remember planting my first tree when I was 7 years old. I was a child, but in that moment, I entered into a new relationship with nature. After years of playing in the forest, I already loved her. But by planting a tree, I was learning that I could grow things. I was learning that I could give back life. That love and that feeling of being in a relationship with the natural world has stayed with me since then.
If I was to be an animal, I would be an eagle. And one thing you don't know about me is that I am left-handed. And I want to give a shout out to my mom. I know you're watching. My mom, Margaret Wathuti, I love you so much. And my aunties, my uncles, my cousins, everyone in my family, I love you so much. And also a big shout out to the Wangari Maathai Foundation team and the Wangari Maathai Foundation Youth Hub, everyone else in the hub, and also to my mentor, our mentor, Wanjira Maathai. Thank you also for the support that we've continued to give to us, and also my team at the Green Generation Initiative. And a shout out to the listeners as well for listening, and happy holidays. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Make sure that you don't cut down trees to decorate for Christmas, but instead plant trees these festive seasons to celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays.